How is this more like a Pendragon or your other ones? Are they more like a is it comic book length or is it more like a graphic novel length? And then how do you go about your writing process? Like, where do you start? How do you develop it? Do you outline it first? Do you just go for it? How does that work for you?
I gotcha. So, back when I first started, I remember I did do short comic lengths around like 24 to 32 pages. But now, as I look and reflect on my previous works, I find that I honestly don't really like writing short stories. I think
Hmm.
that for the stuff that I want to show, it takes me it takes me more pages to actually get that done. And I think that it's better for me if I do graphic novel length for most of my stories I pump out. And um, my writing process that typically comes with me getting a general idea of what I want, and then I go into the plotting phase of how I want the entire story to go. And then once I have that mostly figured out, I go into the scripting phase for each individual issue or the graphic novel if it comes down to that, and it's really fun. Once I get that done, then I try to find the editor that's able to refine those ideas, and then in at the same time, I look for that artist that's able to bring that story to life.
Yeah. So it's is it just you then? Like you're doing the writing, but then you go out and it seems like you're finding new people to work with for each subsequent book that you're creating.
Exactly. My ideal process would be having like say I do Wolfsbane. I would want the same artist or the same team for the entire series, and so on and so forth with whoever I pick for Pendragon. And I think that helps with a lot of the consistency for for like the series and the company and whatnot. And it also keeps for me it keeps that flavor intact.
Yeah. Well, and it gives I think each individual uh for lack of a better term franchise will say, Wolfsbane is one and then Pendragon's another kind of thing. Um it gives them each their own like distinct style and they all don't all just look the same. So I like that. I like it. You're keeping it it's not all going to just look the same necessarily.
Exactly, because well, we're working in different genres, right? So
Hmm.
I think that you want to actually go for what suits that genre the best.
Yeah. Do you plan to do more of a connected universe type thing at any point, or do you want to keep things like you're just going to write the stories that you want to write, regardless of whether or not they connect?
I'm actually trying to do a little bit of both. I want something that could tie in later on down the road, but the stories you don't have to read. Like let's say Wolfsbane, you read all of Wolfsbane. You don't have to read Pendragon to know what's going on in one of those things. It would be
Hmm.
like if we ever do like a crossover or anything like that. It would have to be a story that actually fits and makes sense within the world. And I right now I do have something planned, but I'm gonna wait a little bit before I actually put that into fruition.
Yeah. I've been talking with I've talked to a lot of people about this. It's kind of the whole like so Marvel's a great example of especially the MCU of like continuing a franchise for that long and everything has to be connected is really hard. And so
Yeah,
I think like it's kind of imploding on itself. And that's where like Marvel Comics and DC Comics, like they always just end up rebooting things or they restart it. And I think people are, especially in the indie space, are finding like you have to be really careful and you got it. Like I think the loose connectivity is probably where most people are going to land because of that.
exactly. That, no,
Gives more
honestly, I think that's
freedom.
like, oh, exactly. Shoot. And honestly, with like Marvel and stuff like that, doesn't that also like give you some like continuity issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. So like, Marvel, it's like they, everything is like there's time travel and multiverses, and then they do something and it
Uh,
like cancels everything out for something else. And so it's like it starts, one of the things that's interesting about it is it starts to like remove the stakes. So, you know, the character dies in the movie or in the comic book, and it's like, not really. Like they'll be back at some
yeah,
point. So it kind of removes the like emotional weight of if something happens in the story, you're just like, yeah, okay,
exactly. Like, there's no point.
yeah,
Mm. Yeah, yeah. That's definitely something I'm going to be trying to avoid.
yeah. Well, that's like, so Brandon Sanderson, I he's one that, so he's got the, I don't know if you've read any of his books, but
Uh,
he's got his Cosmere, and they're all connected, they're all in the same type of universe, but he's barely, like, if you read the text, you can read each book individually. Like you don't have to read one or the other. And
yeah,
he's very careful about how he interacts with them because he doesn't want it to like implode and,
yeah. That makes sense. Like
fall
right
apart.
now, I'm trying to read through Mistborn. Obviously,
Hmm.
that's gonna take some time because I'm also reading The Hobbit, and I'm trying to catch up to other stuff. But
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, isn't his world set like in different time periods? So like Mistborn starts first. That's in like the Victorian area or something like that, and then the next series moves further down the line in time.
Yeah, they're like different time periods, but they're also like different worlds. So like
Oh, that's good.
Mistborn happens on like a totally different world than the Stormlight Archive, but they're all in the same universe, and so it's kind of that like there's characters that connect, but like only if you know to look for them. But if you're just a casual reader, it doesn't like you can read Mistborn and not know what happens in Stormlight Archive, and it's not a big deal.
Do that. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think he's working towards like, eventually he'll work towards his end game moment where it all kind of comes together. But I think he's going so slow with the process that by the time it actually gets there, it'll really pay off and it'll really work. Where like he's not trying to just shove it all in and make it happen all at once, kind of a thing.
Mm. All right.
So yeah, I haven't actually. The Mistborn ones are ones I have not read yet. I've read Stormlight Archive. I've actually got to finish the book 4, but I pretty much read that, and I've read some other stuff, but I haven't read the Mistborn. That's on my list for sure. I'm not reading The Hobbit, but I am reading The Lord of the Rings right now because I haven't
Nice.
read that for years, and so that's I've obviously seen the movies an embarrassing amount of times, but
See, lucky for you, I haven't seen the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings in full, like the trilogy, but
mhm.
I've seen both Hobbits, and from what I've seen, the Lord of the Rings blows that series out of the water.
Yeah, the Hobbit movies didn't quite make it. Like they're fine, but they're not amazing. The Lord of
Yeah,
the Rings movies are just unbeatable. I mean, they're some of the best movies ever made, in my opinion.